Good day, everyone. I'm Raal Harris, Chief Creative Officer here at Ocean Technologies Group, which means I'm responsible for how we communicate our message and, more importantly, how we engage with the maritime community. So I get to work with a lot of industry groups and I help the teams at OTG to ensure we're making the right things to meet the needs of our various stakeholders. And my background is coming up to 20 years in maritime e-learning, in which time I've worked on a very diverse range of learning and technology projects. So a bit about OTG. We operate across three main areas of human enablement. So learning solutions, also fleet management and crew management software as a service. And if you don't know us, then you probably know some of the brands you see up there. The important takeaway, I think, is that we are a relatively new company, about 2 years old, but our brands have a very long track record of helping ship operators and maritime organisations to achieve their goals, many of those being sort of getting new initiatives and approaches off the ground. Now, when people ask me what OTG does, I say, well, we power the people that power world trade, because our mission is really about helping maritime professionals to perform. And today I'm going to talk about how a human factors approach to learning can help to drive that performance. Now, we're going through a time of enormous transition in our industry. We're seeing huge disruption through global and regional crisis, and with disruption to trade and logistics putting pressure on our supply chains. And also changes to the way we work and live with the introduction of new technologies and automation, but also the need to move to more sustainable operating models, using less energy, moving to new fuels as we strive to meet those important decarbonisation targets. And at the heart of all of this are our maritime professionals, our seafarers and those ashore that support them. And they're the ones who are going to determine really the success or failure of all these initiatives. So making sure that they have the right knowledge and skills to perform to the best of their abilities has never been more crucial. And at the same time, we're struggling to find the talent that we need. We already had a shortage of officers before the pandemic, and I think it's worse now. So it's not enough for us to be able to empower our seafarers. We also need to be able to attract and to retain people and create organisations in which they want to work. The importance of the human element is nothing new in our industry, and for a long time it's been seen as the final frontier in risk reduction after various other measures and controls have been introduced. And OCIMF have made this a key area of focus, putting out two significant pieces of guidance under the name Human Factors. The first was the Human Factors Approach document in September 2020, which explain the distinction from the use of the term human element to the broader term human factors. And this importantly takes in not only what a human being might do, the decisions they make, etc., but also the additional factors such as workplace design, systems and processes that might influence those decisions, and in many cases may impede the human's ability to behave as desired. And these were further elaborated on in the document Human Factors Management and Self-Assessment, published the following year, which puts flesh on the bones with KPIs that can be used to measure your performance against. And whilst I appreciate these are designed for the tanker trade, I think all sectors should pay attention because, as I hope you will see, they have great potential to influence human performance. And as ESG and in particular new fuels come into play, all trades will find themselves pursuing that same agenda. I think we can see that coming through with initiatives such as Dry BMS standard, for example. Now, in these documents, it lays out 5 pillars representing the focus areas to reduce risks to cruise ships and terminals. There's leading and shaping the culture you want, well-executed tasks and procedures, well-designed equipment and controls, skills to respond to emerging situations, and learning before and after things go wrong. And each of these comes with a set of KPIs against which you can review your performance. So how can we get on top of these KPIs without overburdening our already overstretched teams at sea and on shore? And for me, the learning and shaping the culture you want pillar is the first in sequence for a reason, because culture is the place to start. I often find myself talking about culture in a number of forums, and it increasingly looks like being key to solving many of the challenges we have as an industry. Culture eats strategy for breakfast is an expression you have no doubt heard, reflecting, of course, if your people aren't on board with your plans, you're going to struggle to deliver them. But it's also a phrase that resonates in an uncertain world in which plans are subject to change and tactical decision making is required. You also hear it said that culture is what people do when no one is looking. I think we all understand that one, but with a remote workforce, that becomes crucially important. So we need to think how we'll get people to want to do the right things. And when they share our values, it shapes behaviour more effectively than it does through enforced rules. But when it comes to communicating and fostering our culture, we have some unique challenges as an industry. We're operating with an internationally, culturally diverse workforce, working remotely and in teams that are frequently changing personnel. There's different crewing models, employment regulations, and all of these act as a barrier when we're communicating a consistent message and trying to foster that feeling of belonging. And building your culture really starts with your values, and often the simplest ideas are the best. At one of our seminars recently at Posidonia, we debated this and everyone agreed that it really needs to come from the top. So simple ideas like using a rapid e-learning authoring tool to quickly convert videos and documents into a piece of content allows you to take, for example, a message from the leadership team and get it out to the whole organisation through your learning platform. Communication isn't one way, of course, and the human factors approach is very clear on the need to listen to the workforce. And look at this quote: "The company gathers information from the front line and provides structured feedback on systems, conditions and tasks." So using something like a pulse survey tool embedded in the learning management system makes it really easy to capture feedback and is really key to understanding the employee experience. Understanding how people are thinking and the reality of what's happening in your organisation is essential to building the right culture. Every ship has a microculture of its own, of course, which is to be expected, but we also need to build consistency and to try and create good working environments across the board. So think about how you can build that into your learning strategy. E-learning isn't just suitable for safety and compliance training. It can be used to help you build a culture of care involving well-being, diversity, leadership, bullying and harassment. All of these resources your teams can use to help build that culture, and of course they demonstrate your commitment to a good workplace culture as well. And training is of course a key part of driving human performance and is identified in that second pillar, well executed tasks and procedures. But it also represents a broader investment in people, which is another key ingredient of building good workplace culture. Developing knowledge and skills with recognised qualifications can unlock new roles and responsibilities for individuals. And competency management systems provide a great opportunity for driving human performance. Of course, they are nothing new in our industry. We know they are key to measuring improvement and for demonstrating that improvement to third parties in TMSA and so on. But the HR benefits of competency management systems are often overlooked. They're a great way of facilitating transparent, clear career progression and enabling succession planning. They also encourage accountability and create opportunities for mentoring. And I think that's why we're seeing people like Intertanko and OCIMF and IMEC all building out new competency frameworks. Many organisations are also implementing competency management for their shore team as well, and I think that's something we're going to see more and more of. And lastly, they not only build competence, they also help build culture. Competency frameworks offer a structured approach to managing, appraising and improving performance by reinforcing values and encouraging a common culture. That from the Intertanko OCIMF BCAV document. Now, building and assessing competencies and skills means we need to create more opportunities for people to demonstrate that they can apply their knowledge in real-world scenarios. Coming back to the human factors pillars and the skills to respond to emerging situations, the Level 3 KPI specifies the company uses scenario-based exercises to assess the effectiveness of training for safety-critical activities. By leveraging gaming technology and mechanics, and of course cloud simulation such as we do through our partnership with Wärtsilä, we have the ability to integrate pre-canned and customized simulator exercises into the learning and assessment process. And that gives us a much richer picture of how our people are performing. It allows us to examine behaviour and to see how people react to unforeseen circumstances. I've not really been able to give you more than a pen sketch of how taking a human factors approach to learning strategy can help you to drive performance. There's a lot more that we didn't touch on, but here's some key takeaways. People are key to delivering the transformation we need in our industry. The human factors approach offers considerable benefits to ship operators, not just tanker operators. All trades will benefit, I believe. Culture is key. Be creative in how you communicate it and think about how to get your message to your people. Understand the employee experience, the pulse survey. Make sure your messages are landing. Hear what's actually going on out there. Invest in people. Training, education, building skills, competency frameworks and career plans, all that good stuff. And create opportunities to apply knowledge. Whether that's real world, games, simulations, take advantage of these advances in technology to learn more about your people and what they're capable of. Well, I hope you found that interesting. And if you're taking a human factors approach, I'd love to hear what you're doing. But for now, thanks for listening.